First Avon Tyres Caterham Superlight R400 championship race of the weekend. Graham Tilley finally scored a race win. And a man that started racing in Formula Ford in the 1970s before having a long layoff and coming back into Caterham racing a few years ago. Starts on pole position here with Dan Dennis lining up alongside him on the row one. And Dan only started racing last year and was instantly impressive. Second row of the grid, Nick Potter and Rachel Green, who's been a race winner in R400s in the past, lines up alongside. Again, it's 30 minutes of racing. We are about to get underway then because the drivers look towards the lighting gantry. Away they go, and a good start is made by Dan Dennis from the outside of row one, and a very good start as well by Simon Young from the third row. Rachel Green gets bogged down. Peter Ratcliffe goes by as well. And Rachel Green from the second row of the grid is going to be almost last, I think, on the way down towards Cops for the first time. A dreadful start by her standards. She's doing her best to fight back on the outside of Marcus Hogarth as they go up towards Mangotsfeld for the first time. This is Rachel's view. You see the roll cage there, it's creeping into the shots on the left-hand side. She's managed to battle her way back, I think, up into fifth place as they go towards Mangots for the first time. So, race leader, Dan Dennis, touch of understeer. He does lead the way, though, as they all funnel their way through the corner. There's Rachel Green fighting back after that slowish start. Just up ahead is Simon Young. Ahead of Young, Peter Ratcliffe. And Rattles has been a front runner for a number of seasons as well. Former double 750 Motor Club, Lotus 7 and Caterham 7 champion. Rachel Green, former Caterham graduate champion as well, heads down towards Abbey for the first time. So Dan Dennis, it is in the lead. Nick Potter in second place. In third, looks like being Graham Tilley. There's Peter Ratcliffe going through in now fourth place. Fifth, it is Simon Young. In sixth place going through, Rachel Green. And Graham Tilley looking for second place now as they make the run up towards the right at Bridgebend. Nick Potter ahead of him, Nick Potter behind him now, in fact, as they go to the corner. Potter losing out through the corner into the braking zone now for Priory. The danger here is that if Tilley and Potter and Ratcliffe carry on squabbling over second place, the race leader Dan Dennis will get away. He came from karting into cars last year, was immediately impressive. Up they go now to the right at Luffield. See that he's edged away by a length or two, but under real pressure for his second place is Graham Tilley. Right there on his tail once again is Nick Potter. Here they come now, sprinting their way up towards the start and finish line once again. In fourth place, Peter Ratcliffe going after the pair of them now. Past the pits, over the start and finish line. Bit of a slide from Tilley. Replay of the start from Rachel Green. Lights out. The car accelerates away okay. And then she seems to struggle to find a gear. Either the gear won't engage, or she just couldn't find it in general. Eventually, when a gear is found, Rachel's okay. She manages to salvage sixth place going into Cops Corner. It could have been a whole lot better, especially in a one-make race. It needs to be better. These cars at least have the advantage of being able to slipstream one another. Often in a one-make race, if you lose an advantage, it's very hard to make it back up again. Rachel Green on the inside of Peter Ratcliffe going into Cops Corner. Round the outside comes Simon Young, another driver that's moved up from the road sport category. And Nick Potter now starting to fade a little bit. The race order is Dan Dennis ahead of Graham Tilley. And this is a very big battle for third, headed by Peter Ratcliffe with Simon Young and Rachel Green fourth and fifth as they turn their way up now towards Ireland. Rachel Green has got herself ahead of Nick Potter, trying to defend, but at the same time attack and get onto terms with Simon Young, who is very rapid there, you can see, making his way out of the right-left sequence at Beckett through Ireland. This is the run now, down towards Abbey. Simon Young makes the run on the inside for that left-hand king, but it's the wrong line for the hairpin. But Peter Ratcliffe outbreaks himself, loses traction, he goes off then. Across the grass, is he going to be able to get the traction soon enough? Yes, finds the tarmac. The car, thankfully for him, doesn't swap ends, he rejoins, but he's going to lose another couple of places. Rachel Green has gone by, so also has Nick Potter, and you saw the way that Peter Ratcliffe was having to fight the car then as it slid its way up out of Abbey towards Bridgebend. So Simon Young gains another place out of this as the cars now accelerate towards Priory. Up front though, Dan Dennis looking very strong indeed. Here's the replay. Peter Ratcliffe had the right line for the corner, but the back just broke away. He was able to hang on to it more or less, but he had to let the car do its own thing. It runs over the grass onto the tarmac, and that's a far safer way of doing it than trying to hustle it through the corner. That's Rachel Green spinning though. That's down at Abbey as well, and Rachel has lost it. We didn't see the start of it, but the net result is that Ratcliffe gains a place back. Nick Potter goes back ahead of her as well. Now the race lead that Dan Dennis had has rapidly eroded here because you can see now Graham Tilley is right on his tail in third place, running with them, Simon Young. It's three for the lead as they come out of Brooklands up towards Luffield this time around. 30 minutes of racing rather than a set number of laps. In yesterday's race, they managed to get 16 laps in. That's a benchmark then for today as they come from Luffield up to Woodcote. You can see the way there that Simon Young has just fallen away by a length or two. And the experienced Graham Tilley now right in the wheel tracks of Dan Dennis. Here they come over the line. Rachel Green is off again, I'm afraid. Now, where she got off this time, is that Cox? It's Luffield, isn't it? She's gone off at Luffield in front of the grandstands, and that is the end now of Rachel's race. She's about to wriggle out of the car, and Rachel Green, a retirement. Yesterday, she finished the race in 4th place. Today, she finishes in the gravel bed. You don't often find Rachel Green making mistakes. To have 2 in one race, very odd indeed. Now, Graham Tilley, too much speed carried up towards Beckett, just hangs on to it there. But you can see as he had to back out of that and sort himself out, he's lost a lot of time now because up behind him has come Simon Young. This is a replay of what Rachel did. This is coming through Brooklands, runs wide, looks for the traction, no problem in that. What she does do though is just put a wheel onto that slippy rumble strip. That unsettles the car and she can't get it slowed down for the line for Luffield. And the net result is she slithers off into the gravel bed, tries to keep the momentum up and dig her way out of it, but in the end, game over. She knows it, she's very frustrated. And Dan Dennis here looks as though he's going to be on target for a race win. Each other Caterham category we've had here this weekend has had a double winner, and Graham Tilley therefore needs to get ahead of Dan Dennis to maintain that pattern of the weekend. But for the moment he's still stuck there, down in 2nd place, and Dan Dennis has just enough in hand as he comes over the line now. Tilley again sideways, you can tell he's really trying here, really flinging the car around. Down they go towards the right-hander of Copse Corner, and the top 2 now pretty much out on their own. Simon Young was 3rd, but he's dropped a long way back now. There's an element here in survival of the fittest. You've just got to make sure you don't make any errors. So many have had the occasional indiscretion, and that is Simon Young. Now look, he's a very distant 3rd going out of Copse Corner. Graham Tilley from Beckett into Ireland. Dan Dennis, head down, keeping the gap. It's been a very good drive so far by young Dan Dennis, this. Only began in car racing last season. Fight going on between Peter Ratcliffe and Nick Potter. Now this is for 4th place. Peter Ratcliffe currently holds sway, but Nick Potter, who took a podium yesterday, finished in 3rd place, looking to try to make the run on him as they go now up into the left at Maggots. Can't do it. Peter Ratcliffe fends him off, coming into Beckett's now. Again though, Peter Ratcliffe under pressure. The tendency therefore is to drive even harder and even faster and brake even later, and that's dangerous in these treacherous, slippery, greasy conditions. The race leaders come out of Woodcote Corner. The clock ticking away towards the end of 30 minutes of racing. Indeed, the last lap board is now there. Is Dan Dennis going to score a maiden win, or is Graham Tilley going to be able to mug him on the last lap as they come out of Copse Corner and go now up towards the left and right at Maggots and then Beckett? It looks as though whatever Dan Dennis does in this race, Graham Tilley will always be a length or so back. Graham has not really been able to get quite close enough to make a move. He shadowed him, he has tried to apply pressure. Now can this traffic help him? Cole Woodwitz, the back marker, keeps out of the way. Dan Dennis easily past him. Ron Johnson is about to be negotiated as well by the leader. Dan Dennis has got past both of the back markers. Now we need to see where, in contrast, Graham Tilley is. I don't think he's been able to get through the traffic quite as rapidly. No, as he comes now down towards the hairpin at Abbey, he has managed, you can see, to get past the back markers, but he's not gained anything out of all of that. Dan Dennis, therefore, hangs on in there, still looking strong, powering his way now out of Abbey. Dan Dennis had a win in the Caterham Euro Cup last year, but he's yet to win in the UK. Can he do it now? Graham Tilley hasn't given up either, though. They come through Bridgebend, and that gap just looks like it's coming down a bit. Tilley knows it's the last lap, and he knows now he has got to be really brave through this next sequence of corners in order to challenge on the run to the checkered flag. Number 73 is Dan Dennis, and he turns the car into the left-hander. Right on his tail there is Tilley. Now, is Graham going to be able to get a good enough run coming out of the right-hander of Luffield to challenge for the position? We'll see in a moment. The two of them nose to tail into Luffield. They're going to be nose to tail out of it as well. Tilley looks like he's got the momentum. He's got to be so careful when he applies the throttle. If he applies it too urgently, the car might snap away. He's there, he's on the back of Dennis through Woodcote Corner, but I don't think he's quite got enough in him to get level with Dan Dennis, who comes across the line now to win the second round of the Avon Tyres Caterham Superlight R400 Championship by 0.2 of a second from Graham Tilley in 2nd place. Tremendous last few corners between the pair of them. 3rd looks like it's going to go the way of Simon Young. And what about 4th? Is it Nick Potter? Potter should be through in a moment, fending off Peter Ratcliffe. Indeed, here he is now. Nick Potter in number 12, having been on the podium in race 1, finishes today in 4th. And Peter Ratcliffe comes home through in 5th place behind him and gets all sideways as he takes the flag and bang into the pit wall. He just takes the flag and about, a length after it, he's ended up in a crumpled heap. Ratters is 5th, he's a bit red-faced, the car is very battered indeed, but at least he's classified as a finisher. Dan Dennis then scores the first Caterham win in the UK, ahead of Graham Tilley and Simon Young to round out the top 3.
Yes, first win in this series. I had one win in the Euro Cup last year, but this feels much better. Great start to the season.
It was so slippery out there that I think that first would have been nicer, but at the end of the day, keeping it on the island was my prime target really, and get some points. I had a big go at the end. I didn't actually realise it was the last lap. However, I don't think it would have made any difference because it was so slippery offline that as long as Dan covered the line, I was really going to struggle.